everyone, today's video I will talk about my experience in using the newly launched Realme 2 Pro mobile phone after using it for more than 3 weeks as my primary device. Here is a brief description about the hardware used in this model. I will not go in depth in examining each hardware used in this phone, but in simple I can tell you these kind of specs are mostly found in expensive models, and with this model launch Realme made it possible in reaching price conscious audience, especially for those who like to enjoy some trendy features without spending too much. We get some useful stuff along with the phone: a high quality transparent silicone case, a pre-applied scratch guard, not a tempered glass type, but still gives basic protection right from first use. Charger slightly bigger in dimension and lacks quick charging facility. The data cable working at USB 2.0 speed and a SIM tray ejector pin. I'm sure people who are unaware of this model or see it for the first time will certainly misjudge it as an expensive phone. I already faced such incidents when I stepped out of my house, people eagerly asking for the model name and get extremely excited when I reveal the price. The physical buttons are distributed on both sides of the phone. Right side we have the power key, and on the left side separate buttons for volume up and down. And due to this, while speaking I'll feel more comfortable to hold the phone using my left hand as my left fingers falls on the volume button more naturally. The buttons feel solid and gives accurate feedback when pressed. At the bottom we have the primary microphone and a single loudspeaker. You can easily block the speaker grill when holding the phone in landscape mode, especially while gaming or watching videos. The 3.5mm headphone jack is also placed here, but I prefer this to be placed at the top edge of the phone. Finally, we get the dedicated micro SD slot back, greatly missed in most popular mid-range phones released a year back. I feel glad to see these three separate slots on a budget phone quite after a long time. The build is completely plastic in glossy finish, and so it weighs less heavy than metal phones with similar dimensions. But it still feels quite sturdy and it is not too heavy while handling, but one-handed usage is hardly possible. The back panel grasps fingerprints and other smudges easily, but this won't be a problem as most of us will use a case for regular usage. And it's worth to note here, this blue color variant hides the everyday smudges to good extent. The side top bezels around the display are extremely thin, and as a result, screen to body ratio number is very higher compared to other models of this price category. The fingerprint scanner is placed at my favorite location, that is on the rear panel, as my index finger falls perfectly on this place. Scanning speed is very quick and reliable most of the time. We also have face unlock feature via the front camera, and surprisingly it works really well in moderate to good lighting conditions. This feature can also be used as an alternative option for screen unlocking. Definitely nice to have additional protection. Call quality and signal reception is excellent. There are some places where I experienced poor network reception with my other models, but this phone had full bars and I'm very much surprised to see that. There is ample amount of loudness in the earpiece. Voices sound crisp and clear on both ends, even speaking in noisiest surroundings. Both SIM can operate at 4G LTE at the same time. GPS navigation worked fine and accuracy is good, but not great in my usage. The humongous 6.3-inch notch display in wide 19.5:9 aspect ratio is the biggest highlight of this model. Really stands out from other models in this price category. Before this I was using Honor 6X with 16:9 aspect ratio, and then swapped to Honor 7X which had 18:9 aspect ratio. But I didn't notice any advantage or difference when switching from 16:9 to 18:9 aspect ratio. Actually, it took me some time to adapt to that new tall aspect ratio, and I still prefer the 16:9 screen format, which is far better when it comes to reading. Actually, I discovered 18:9 format is good for watching media and gaming, but uncomfortable when it comes to text reading. Once I started using Realme 2 Pro with this new 19.5:9 format, I made my mind to completely ditch the 18:9 based phones. Yes, this newer format is as wide as 16:9 and sufficiently tall enough for both reading and media consumption. As you can see, the 6.3-inch display on Realme 2 Pro has similar dimensions of the 6-inch Honor 7X. And that's the magic of higher screen to body ratio and notch display feature. The moment when I started using this phone, I immediately saw the advantage of Realme's display. It feels more content than my Honor 7X due to its wider aspect ratio. But there is a little concern. You can't take control of the entire screen in one hand, and I struggle to reach the top corner. And please note my hands are slightly larger than average size. One thing I can assure, you will begin to ignore this discomfort once you start enjoying the benefit of bigger screen. Color reproduction is average out of the box, and there was a high bluish tint, and it's the main reason for its subpar color accuracy. Luckily, Realme has inbuilt color temperature adjustment feature, and I immediately corrected using it. After a small minor adjustment, accuracy improved substantially, and you can also further enhance it by using the night mode option. Still, I have seen better color accuracy in other models of this price range. Viewing angles are decent and color shift is only visible at extreme angles. The overall brightness is adequate for indoor usage, but I struggle to read the screen under harsh sunlight, and all I see on the display is full of reflections. Adaptive brightness worked perfectly in all lighting conditions. And one thing it's worth to mention through this video, there is a small gap all around the screen, allowing dust to settle in between this gap in the long run. Navigation buttons are on screen and you can hide it using the settings menu. Touch sensitivity and feedback is good, but don't expect Apple standards. The Realme 2 Pro offers plenty of UI customization like gesture shortcuts for taking snaps, opening apps when the screen is in standby or locked, are really innovative and very useful in day-to-day usage. I read few users complaining about the unfriendly nature of ColorOS UI, but I don't feel it annoying in real usage. The Snapdragon 660 chip on this phone offers tremendous performance in every task I threw at it. Be it multitasking, heavy web browsing, or switching between programs, it handled all prominently, even with 5 to 10 applications running background. The Adreno 512 GPU is not a gamer's chip by any means, as it won't play latest demanding titles at maxed out settings. But still, you can manage playable frame rates by settling with medium to high details. I tested this phone in few GPU intensive games such as PUBG, Asphalt 9, COD, and it handled well with very few frame drops here and there, but the experience is still enjoyable and sure enough to satisfy most casual gamers. The phone does get little warm around the camera section after 1 hour of heavy usage and gaming, but certainly it's not uncomfortable to complain about it. You can record calls while speaking, and this facility is built into Dialer app, and this may be quite useful for some users. The earpiece is tiny and neatly integrated in the top center, and there were some moments where I had trouble in aligning the earpiece. The sound easily gets muted when you don't align the earpiece on the rear properly. I completely enjoyed the music quality in this phone. Vocals, instruments are honestly carried over to the earphone. And this phone happily drives a bigger headphone like this with sufficient amplification. The primary camera has 16 megapixel Sony sensor with f1.7 aperture size, that's really wide, and a 2 megapixel depth sensor, and a single lens 16 megapixel configuration on the front. Talking about the rear camera performance, at default settings, the output is very satisfying. Captured images looks very good under good light conditions and has reasonable amount of details. The output looked punchy and awesome on the phone screen, but when I examined the actual image size on my PC monitor, the images lacks some details and few images are either overly sharp or looks fuzzy. But this would be the case with any mid-range smartphone as of now. Images captured in night or dim conditions are just okay, losing 50% of the details, and you have more chances of pictures getting blurry. But one thing I liked very much about the rear lens, it has great ability to capture any object even if it is surrounded by very little lighting. The wide f1.7 aperture plays a big role here. Here is the sample image. It was captured near my PC monitor, being the only light source in my room with other lights switched off. The camera unit is little bit raised from the body, exposed to damage under heavy impact. The dynamic range is not that good, tends to overexposure the output. You can obtain better results from this lens by tweaking the every setting using Pro Mode. We get 4K as well as 1080p video recording option at 30 fps. Videos look great when there is enough light around the surroundings. It lacks video stabilization, so resulting in a shaky footage when you capture on the move. Front camera does its job fine. Selfie photos came pretty well with saturated colors, and sometimes the pictures are tuned more on sharpness, losing some useful details in that process. The battery endurance on this device is simply fantastic even in dual SIM config. It lasted close to 2 days under light usage, that is more than 5 hours of call time, 2 hours of video watching, 3 to 4 hours of web browsing, listening music and gaming for an hour. It took 2 hours and 17 minutes to completely charge the battery. Well, overall I had a pleasant experience using this phone for more than 3 weeks. Realme gave 3 consequent updates during this time, and it's a great news for those who expect better software support in the long run. The Realme 2 Pro has all right ingredients enough to make a big wave in budget phone category. It's one of the best looking phone in the mid-range segment and also a capable phone to satisfy most users in terms of solid performance with bigger screen size, decent camera and gaming performance, great battery endurance. I don't find any deal-breaking thing or flaw on this phone. The mid-range segment is getting hot now with this phone launch. Thanks for watching. Give a thumbs up if you like this video.